We're live.
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all be?
How y'all be?
That.
You must really be in the South.
That. Why you say that?
You said, how y'all be?
I mean, we listen to Who We Be by DMX. Shouts out to DMX. Rest in peace. My wife, my kids, the life that I live.
It's Thursday. Back in the morning.
Lucky day. Good morning, my name is Brian McNeill.
And I am Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And thank you for joining us on our show, Let's Talk About It. We come to each Monday through Friday right here on the SIBN network, on iHeartRadio, YouTube, TuneIn, as well as Facebook Live. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Like. So,
baby, what's in your hand?
What's in your hand?
What's in your hand?
What's in your hand?
Give me some of it.
All of me. You got all of me, honey.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, what's in your hand? That's the subject. But you know what? What's in your hand is not as effective as how do you activate it?
Your hand that you use, what's in your hand that you activate, what's in your hand that you implement, what's in your hand that you build with, what's in your hand that you profit from, what you got?
What do you have? What do you have? Listen, today's topic is on the emphasis of the fact that Brian and I, for the past 5 years, have lived on only what is in our hand.
Mm-hmm.
We have taught others to do the same.
What do you mean by what's in your hand? Because I'm definitely going to want you to tell the story today.
Well, what's in your hand is... Yeah. So what's in your hand is what you have at your disposal, right? It could be in your physical, tangible hand, like you can touch it. Or for us, it's in your head. It's our intellectual property that we have turned into things that are in our hands. Good morning, Katura. I so love that I get to see you every day. We should have virtual lunch. You know what? That's what we should do. Because I keep on saying, I need to see her. And I don't take a whole lunch hour. But if we did a virtual lunch, now even then I scheduled lunch with Judy and I had to reschedule it because sometimes things just shift and I don't have any control of them completely. But if we schedule a virtual lunch, you can have your lunch, I can have my lunch.
Good morning, Miss Phyllis,
hang out
as well. Good morning to you.
and catch up. So what's in your hand? It means what you have, your skills, your knowledge, your expertise, your talent, your abilities, or, it could be a physical, tangible product as well. It could be your cakes that you bake. It could be your cupcakes. It could be your drinks. It could be your CBD gummies. It can be whatever it is, right?
It could be, what's the girl? Sapphire Fletcher?
Mm-hmm. It could be your hugs.
Your hugs.
that might get you down a whole different path. But actually, there is for her twice. But there is in the if you desexualize it, there is actually a category, a business of hugging, snuggling and hugging. Yep.
This lady charges big money. Comes over and rinse herself out as a snuggle, buddy.
Yeah, and it's important. She actually does that. The one that I know of actually does it for therapeutic reasons. Mm-hmm. Also, there are some people that could be in severe depression, and they need the snuggling and the hugging. Think about it. King David, they appointed a snuggler for him in his last days. They actually appointed a snuggling virgin for him and put her in the bed with him to supposedly to give him warmth.
To warm his bed.
Mm-hmm. And, well, things had gone cold. Nevertheless, what's in your hand?
What gifts, skills, and talent that you bring to the world that you could use? Are you a good singer?
Do you have anything? Is there a skill that you have that most people don't know about?
And are you not creatively seeking ways to leverage it?
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Dr. Deborah. And I use the word leverage specifically because I have heard it said, are you not exploiting it? And although exploiting has a negative connotation, I do believe
I
that
don't
exploiting
always
it,
think it's negative.
me neither.
Okay.
But I didn't use it specifically because it often has a negative connotation.
What's in your hand?
What's in your hand?
That you can, like, I love the riff that Lisa just went down, that at least and I went down, that you're using, that you're leveraging. I love that. What's in your hand that you got?
Or are you taking it for granted?
And which is most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, people that with an exceptional skill or natural skill that just simply take it for advantage. Taking advantage. I assumed everyone can sing this good. I assumed everyone can draw this good.
Absolutely. Okay. You know who had a magnificent gift for decorating and appointing? I know Couture is ready for me to say it. And setting up. I
know who it is too.
Her mama. Oh Mama my Franks. God.
Frank's
Mama Frankie.
Mama Frankie.
Mama Frankie could take a Dollar Tree bowl, honey, and some crayons and turn it into a magnificent, like, oh my goodness.
I've seen her do that at a couple of different events.
Absolutely. Actually. And she could convert the same space using almost the same things, but make it totally different. Her creativity and her imagination is, it is, there's nothing that can touch it.
So what I'm hoping will happen today, when we ask the question of you, what's in your hand? What gifts, skills, and talents that you maybe not using to the full? What do you have? What skill do you have that most people don't know about? I'm hoping that you'll think about what you know, and then I want you to think a little bit deeper and expand it, because it's probably bigger and deeper and maybe even more than what you think.
So yeah, because sometimes it's not just what you know, but how you use it, right? How you use it, not just what you know, but how you use it. And we'll think about that in conjunction with the story of the widow with the cruse of oil, right? Mm-hmm. So she had what she needed. It didn't look like enough. She almost categorized it as nothing.
Well, she didn't think she had anything.
She didn't think she had anything.
That was the point.
Exactly.
That was the point. And Lisa's going to tell that story shortly, and I want her to tell it the way she does it, because no one does it better. But certain people have, I'm thinking of Rochelle B. Gray, a multiple intelligence project, different things, different intelligences we have. Like, for example, I once took out an ad. I sold cars for a little while. I took out an ad in the newspaper, and I had my picture in the ad, and I took out an ad for me to come buy a car for me. And I submitted a picture, okay? And the way the pictures had my face looking like this, okay? But on the paper, it had my face looking this way. And now that don't seem like that big a deal right now. And I was in the car with my son, Das. I was like, I didn't submit the picture that way. What's the difference? He said, let me see your cards, because I had my same picture on my business card. And he took my card and he laid it on the picture. And he said, now see how this goes? When you lay it down like that, it comes up this. And it made so much sense, but it made sense to him immediately because he has spatial intelligence. And I didn't have spatial intelligence like him. And he was able to show me like with a barely moving. It's easy, like that.
I'm glad you recognize that, because that's actually one of the things that we get challenged with when we're designing. I think people think, oh, we got Canva, we can make anything, right? Just because you have the tools doesn't mean that you have the gift. And so you get to also, the reverse is also true. If you have the gift, you don't get to let people minimize what your gift is because they have access to your tools. I can have a kitchen, a pot, an oven. I can have flour, and I can have sugar, and I can have oil, and I can have eggs. And that would not mean a daggone thing to me baking you a cake, because cakes are scientific. I don't do cakes except for when they have pre-measured stuff. Now, on the other hand, things that are not scientific, they are creative, which is savory dishes and things that are cooked on top of the stove. Those are not scientific. Those are the things you put that same salt, sugar, that fish, that meat, that whatever in front of me, you're going to get something much better than you could create on your own, because that's me operating in my gift.
And as I listen to you, I'm thinking about the gifts that people have that's in their hand. But even the little gifts that you have that's in your hand, are there little things that you
I don't think they're little. I don't think anything's little. I think the what makes it degree of big or little is the person's vision and the person's faith.
For example, then.
For example,
I used to be a really good dancer. Yes, I did. And I could watch anybody's dance moves for a few moments or so, a few minutes or so, even complex dances. I could watch it for a little bit and I was able to do it like right away.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't have that anymore, but at one time that was a gift that I had or a skill that I had or something.
Well, we understand that the gifts of God are without repentance, but we also realize that that gifts need to be honed. They need to be respected, and they
leave you.
They need to be conditioned, or they leave you. Absolutely.
Yes, I used to be able to do that. I'd be great. You'd be great. That's awesome.
I'm glad you're great. I'm glad you're. So, what do you have in your hand? What is in your hand? Katura has the ability to teach dance.
Yes. He was my first dance partner in learning how to ballroom dance. Katura was my first one.
And how did you feel when you were on the dance floor with her?
It's amazing. I remember how I felt because it was my first time.
You told me before.
It was my first time doing it. Okay. Now that dance is very man-led. The man's supposed to lead. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know what I was doing. Mm-hmm. But she did. But she was able to teach me how to do the dance, but still let me lead it. Mm-hmm. How do you do that?
It's magic. It's not magic. It's a gift.
I was still leading, but I was still being taught how to do it.
But she had to cultivate that. She had to learn that. She had to continue to grow in that. Good morning, Beverly. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Beverly.
Thank you for joining us.
Dr. Beverly is a great example. A lot of times people have things in their hand, a gift, skill, or talent that you may not know about. Okay.
That's right. Katura is a teacher of many things. And I think that so am I. And I think teaching is a gift. I know we
discovered more and more of her gifts over time. Okay, it wasn't immediately. She didn't come to us and say, "Here's my resume. This is all things I know how to do." Right. We discovered things over time, more and more things that she could do. Now,
absolutely, and I think that's Rochelle V. Gray is a good example of multiple gifts.
Yes. If you don't know, she has this thing called the Multiple Intelligence Projects, and she has identified 9 different intelligences. One of them is, reading and writing and math, but another one is physical intelligence. The other one is, nature, out in nature. They can understand trees and flowers better than other folks. Like different types of intelligences.
Which is, I think, so important because there's so many diverse gifts and talents, particularly in our children. And we, as a society, focus only on 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Reading and math and maybe a little bit of art. And we actually put art in the category of that's nice. But
they took it out of school.
Yeah, but that's nice. Yeah, exactly. And they're not embracing it. Because
Lisa taught me so many things.
We were in a learning phase together. We were in a learning and teaching phase together. Katura and I spent about, I want to say maybe 10, 12 years where we were a lot of time that we spent together.
Now, before we get too far into the show, I'm still a little bit high from last night.
That's to show y'all this again. Because this was some good eating. If you missed it last night, you missed it. It was good eating.
Now, that was last night, Mindset and Motivation, with Brother Mark Greer, Robert Antoine, myself, Brian K. McNeill, Sir Charles Carey, and Brother Darian Jackson. And I am not going to be able to do it justice, but I'm going to try.
Go ahead and try.
I'm going to try. These brothers showed up and...
Hey, Rochelle V. Gray!
We said your name like 3 times today, and here she is. We talked about you in the Multiple Intelligence Project. Yes, we did, Michelle. We talked, and I'm gonna give you a chance to talk about it too. Matter of fact, if your camera ready. Anyway, I was the opening speaker, and I went. The topic was the mindset and motivations of an entrepreneur today. And I went down the road that I've gone with you guys a lot of times. I went down the road of, you're supposed to sell. Proverbs 11:26, and holding the gifts to yourself and what happens when you share your gifts and all that. And I banged that drum pretty hard for like 6 minutes. And I went in and it was well received. They really received the message. It kind of set the tone. That's what my job is to kind of like warm them up and make room for the real talent, which is coming next. Now, I know I'm talented too, but I'm not the star of this show. Mark Greer. Mark Greer. He was the first featured speaker. And he's, oh my God, I took notes too. But he talked about believe. And he talked about what would happen in your life if you don't believe in yourself. What happens if you don't believe?
Good morning, Miss Vivian. Yeah.
What?
So that's actually right in line. And I know you want me to tell the story. I don't want to tell it that way. I want to piece it in together with the conversation, if that's all right. So that is the importance of not just what you have, but what you do with it, or what is inspiring you with it, or who is helping you with it. Because the basis of my business and ministry is 2 Kings 4, right? 1-7. It is the story of the widow whose husband had died and left her in tremendous debt. And she was in a place where her sons were going to be sold into slavery.
You didn't pay that debt.
If she didn't pay that debt, everything that she had that had any value was going to be taken, and she was essentially going to be left as a beggar woman and destitute. And she tapped into some things that we often forget. She tapped into her relationships, and she tapped into her faith. She tapped into her relationships and she tapped into her faith. Now, the relationship that she tapped into was actually her husband's relationship.
I mean, y'all don't already know that your relationships, your network, there is gold in it. This is the third time this week. Tara Lee mentioned that on Monday night at the virtual, how to sell your service virtually, that don't ever think that there isn't gold within your network. Don't ever think there isn't gold within your relationships. That's how she put it. So go ahead.
Absolutely. So she used her relationship with her husband and her husband's relationship with the prophet to access what she felt she needed. Now, she didn't know what he was going to give her.
Well, she went to him wanting to rescue.
Yes.
Said, look, prophet, I know you and my husband had a relationship, but he's gone. He left us with debt. Hook us up with some money so I could pay off this debt. That's what she wanted.
And his response was probably not what she was looking for. Because he said to her, what do you have? Now,
put yourself in that moment. You go to the prophet asking for money to save your ice. Okay. And he says, well, what do you have?
What do you have?
Now, some people would answer, okay, well, like she did. She said, I don't have nothing.
I don't have nothing, is what she said.
Box of oil.
Well, she said, I have nothing. Her first initial visceral and carnal response was, I have nothing. And I believe that she was struck with conviction, because then she said, save this cruse of oil, still minimizing what it was that she had, but admitting that she at least had something.
Yes. But she didn't think it was enough to rescue her in that moment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what do you have?
What do you have?
Now, if we go deeper into that story, we find that little bit was enough.
You keep racing to the end.
Well, your butt gotta go. Come on.
I'm gonna interrupt one of your stories the same way.
You interrupt all my stories all the time. Now y'all see her?
Appropriately.
She interrupts all my stories.
Appropriately. I support you in your storytelling. So then his response to her is, go ye and borrow many vessels. Now, at that point, she had a choice. She could have shaken her head and said, who else can I call to give me this money so that I can get this stuff handled?
Which some people would do.
Which very well may be what you would do. Because what do I need with many vessels? I got the whole oil fit right here. This is it. Well, the faith and actually the obedience of the widow woman. I know, Vivian, right? Spoiler, we know the story. But it was her obedience that caused her to go and do exactly what he said.
And she had to not only just do it herself, she had to get her kids involved, sons, everybody, go borrow.
Yeah, well, actually, she didn't go borrow any vessels. She told her son to go borrow the vessels.
Right. She had to get the kids in there.
Yeah.
She had to get them to buy in enough to go do it.
Well, I think in those days, the sons were rather obedient. I think those sons particularly were rather obedient to
those stories in the Bible of sons that weren't obedient.
Right. But they went and knocked and knocked and knocked, and they borrowed all the vessels. And Brian is going to stop interjecting unnecessary stuff into my stories. So they went and they borrowed all the vessels. And they came back and they said to her, we can't find any more vessels. And that's it. Rochelle said that this is exactly why God had me to tune in this morning. I am at work in the building. Okay. She is in the building.
Sister Ro, if you can type, I am always impressed when you list the different types of intelligences. If it's not too inconvenient, can you list the 9 so we can share with our audience? If it's not inconvenient. Okay.
So at this point, she goes back to the prophet because, like, okay, I got all these empty vessels and I got this little tiny corner piece of oil. Now what? He says to her to go and close the door upon you and your sons and pour out the oil into all of these vessels. Go home and pour out the oil into all of these vessels. So she goes home, she has her sons, they come inside, they close the door, and they begin to fill and fill and fill and fill. And she calls them, bring me another one, bring me another one, bring me another one. And the son finally said, there ain't no more. So now she's got all these vessels filled, and she goes back one more time to the prophet. And this is the point where many of you would not get the blessing, because many of you have decided, well, there's nothing wrong with what I have. There's nothing wrong with what I do, but I don't like selling. Because what the prophet said next was, go ye and sell this oil, pay off your debts, and live off the rest. Now, many of you want to tell me about how God don't want people to sell everything and God don't need you to make a whole lot of money. And some of you want to tell me that, why do people always try to sell stuff that they can just do any kind of way? She didn't make that oil. She didn't create that oil. All she did was pour that oil into vessels, but it still had enough value for her to sell it and to be able to gain the money from it to then first pay off her debts. That's due diligence, good stewardship, right? And live off the rest, you and your children's children. That meant that it was going to create legacy wealth. So for all of you that think that people of God shouldn't be selling, that people of God shouldn't be making money, go back and read the word for yourself.
Beverly.
Good morning, beautiful people. Beverly says, how many empty vessels do we have around me that we have not borrowed them, but God has sent them to us that we have had to pour into?
Man, back on Brother Mark Greer from last night, he went ahead and today's topic is what's in your hand. And we're talking about what you can use and all that kind of stuff. But Mark told an old African proverb, and you probably heard our parable, you probably heard this one before, about this smart elderly man in his village. And everybody thought he was the smartest man, and everybody would go to him with questions. He was able to answer everybody. Well, there was these 2 teenage boys. They kind of got a little jealous of him, and they wanted to test him out. So they hatch this plan. They go into the forest, they catch a bird, they catch a small bird. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold the bird in our hands, and we're going to ask him, is the thing in our hands alive or dead? And if he says it's alive, we'll just squeeze it and kill it and then say, it's dead. If he says it's dead, we'll let it go. Okay? So that way we'll win. So they catch the little bird, and they have it in their hands, and they say, okay, old man, you so smart. This thing we have in our hands, is it alive or dead? Okay. And at first, the old man just looked at him and glared, didn't answer. He said, come on, old man. You're supposed to be so smart. Is this alive or dead? So finally, he leveled the answer to them. You see, I cannot tell you if the thing in your hand is alive or dead. See, because if I tell you it's alive, you can just kill it. If I tell you it's dead, you can let it free. But the point is, no one will ever be able to tell you what's in your hand is alive or dead, because it's in your hand. What's in your hand, you get to decide if it's alive or dead.
That's so true. Because it's the same situation again with the widow. She could have very well said, I don't have enough. This is not going to do anything. And I'm going to go find somebody else to talk to.
Yeah.
She could decide that the process was not worth the outcome. And that's what so many people do, is along the process, they abort. He didn't tell her at the beginning, go ye. He didn't sit at the beginning and say, go get the vessels, fill up with oil. It's going to fill up a whole lot of vessels. Then you get to go sell it and you'll make enough money. And then you can pay off your debts and then you can go live off the rest. He didn't say that. He didn't say that all at once. He gave her a little bit at a time, because he had to allow her obedience to increase her faith. I need somebody to get that. Sometimes your obedience has to increase your faith. Obedience will lead to the increasing of your faith, and that's why obedience is better than sacrifice.
Thank you, Sister Rochelle Gray. She went ahead and listed for us the 9 multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner. The visual, first off, is visual and spatial, which my son Daz has. The next one was naturalists, then musical intelligence, logical, mathematical, existential, the interpersonal intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, linguistic intelligence, and intrapersonal intelligence. Those are all, and a lot of people have more than one of those.
Yeah, most of us have more than one of those, but we're heightened in one or the other.
Yes. Thank you, Rochelle, for sharing that. Because, like Lisa mentioned before, we're taught in school only a few of these things, but there's more. You have more.
Absolutely. Hey, Green Tea. I love the new name.
So that was Mark Greer. And then we had our brother Robert Antoinin follow Mark Greer last night at the Mindset and Motivations. And Robert was beautiful. He talked about you and your story. And your story is worth it. He told the story of Kevin Nelson finding his voice in comedy. Kevin Nelson, when he was trying to make it in comedy, and when someone finally got in his ear and says, no, man, tell who you are. Tell your personal stories. And Kevin Nelson became Kevin Hart. Yep. Once he got that bug, his personal story, and your personal story does have that kind of value.
Absolutely.
When you start sharing your real, Kevin stopped talking about every little thing in the world. He stopped talking about politics. That's what he was about. He started talking about himself and his family and his girlfriend and his wife and his kids. And he became Kevin Hart. Okay.
Rochelle says, I believe that these are the gifts that God gave us put into physical forms. Amen. Rochelle also goes on to say, we have all 9, but are
Thank you for clarifying that. We needed you to say that. Thank you, my sister.
I definitely believe that's true. So what's in your hand? We say this with all passion and importance, because first, it is for you. Right? What is in your hand is for you. It's for you and your family. It is very important for the growth, development, sustenance for you and your family. But secondarily, it is for the world.
Yes.
What is in your hand is not just for you. It is for you, but it is not just for you. And we're waiting for you.
And Charles Carey hit us with a good one too last night. He talked about how, you see the movie Concussion with Will Smith, about those football players that
I did.
We saw it together. Yeah, a very good movie.
It was a very good movie.
And about the doctor who was trying to get known. And the doctor finally got a chance to get an audience with the NFL. And he told the NFL, look, these guys that make it to the pros, they start in Pee Wee football, then they go to that level of football, then they play in high school, then they play in college. By the time they make it to the pros, they've taken over 20,000 hits. Okay, they've taken over 20,000 hits by the time they make it to the pros. And then Charles ran a beautiful parallel about how many hits have you taken in your life. and that you're still here?
Mm-hmm.
How many hits have you taken in your life? You've taken all these hits and you still have cognitive functioning. You're still good. You still think. You still care. You still care about other people. You're still friendly. You've taken these hits, and those hits can be paid. They gotta return something. You gotta get something back from taking all these hits. And then Mark Greer piggyback, Charles, and said, and how many times have we hit back? How many times have we hit back at these circumstances in life and challenges?
Absolutely. And Miss Vivian, I actually wanted to tag Miss Vivian in that thought, because so often, and I'm going to be very transparent, Miss Vivian, but I want you to know
which is a strength, by the way, the hits you take. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So often we measure the blows that knocked us down, but we forget to count the number of times that we got back up.
Mm.
So often I remember when this happened. I remember that. Yeah. But the thing about all of those things that came to steal, kill, and destroy, that came to try to take you out, that the very second that you do like this, after that last big one, you won.
You know, that's a perspective place. And I like that perspective place. When Lisa was just saying that right there, it reminded me of when Muhammad Ali fought George Foreman. Okay, now Ali was 32, George Foreman was 24, and George Foreman was destroying everybody, knocking everybody out. And most people thought Ali was going to get killed. And people were often pointing to the example of Ali fought Joe Frazier, and Joe Frazier beat Ali in a 15-round fight. Mm-hmm. And George Foreman knocked out Frazier in 2 rounds. He knocked him down 6 times in 2 rounds. And most people use that as an example. He's going to kill Ali. Look what he did to Frazier. He knocked him down 6 times in 2 rounds. And the referee had to finally stop the fight. Well, Ali saw that as inspiration. He goes, yeah, I saw George Foreman knock him down 6 times, but I saw Joe Frazier get up 6 times too. So he didn't knock him out. He just kept knocking people down. So he couldn't knock him out. Ali was inspired by the fact that his opponent couldn't knock him out. He was just knocking him down. Okay? You got knocked down, but you didn't get knocked out. You didn't get knocked out.
Knock me down. But it's remember the toy Weebles?
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. That was the commercial.
That was the commercial. And the truth of the matter, Weebles were the most resilient little things. You could flick them, you could throw them, you could do anything what you wanted, but they had a weighted bottom, so that no matter what happened.
So put some weight in your bottom. Put some weight in your butt.
Put some weight in your butt. That's right. No matter what happened, they came back up. And you couldn't keep them down.
Don't fall down.
I had a whole Weebles Wobbles village.
We all had Weebles.
You had Weebles?
We had Weebles.
You had sisters.
I had 3 sisters.
Yeah,
yes.
You didn't have Weebles.
Okay, but it was Weebles in the house.
Sister Felicia says, amen. So ultimately, it's up to us to create the lifestyle we want. God has blessed us with our specific gifts. We are the ones to determine our outcome. It can yield fruit or dust.
Love
I get an amen.
Love it. You do have something, okay? Just like that woman. If you ever in a place where you don't think you have anything to give or anything with value, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're wrong. Yes, you do.
You do.
Yes, you do.
You do. You absolutely do. And I'm so okay. Here's another moment I'm getting ready to have. You have it. Sometimes you know it. And here's what. If you come to me and we do the exercise of the low-hanging fruit, and we identify all of these things that you could do right now without any outside of anything. You don't need to buy anything. You have everything you need. It's either in your head or in your hand, right? And the first thing out of your mouth when we identify that thing is, yeah, but get to getting. Okay? Because I'm not going to loan you any money. I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to loan you any money. I am trying to show you that God has already equipped you for exactly what you need. And oftentimes it is in that conversation where you see it with me. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Oh, yes, I can do that. And yes, I love to do that. And I can do that. And then that first yeah, but comes. I know that you would rather embrace your situation and enjoy your complaining because you've grown accustomed to the attention that you can get for it. And I don't have time.
Yeah, that just made me soft, not a hard blow, but a soft blow. Because I have an 18-year-old son who's has a habit of borrowing money.
That's different. I'm not talking about an 18-year-old. I'm talking about a 35-year-old woman who has enjoyed all of the attention that she gets for not having whatever it is that she doesn't have, and has had enough success with people understanding why she can't do something. Then I'm going to have to say you need to figure out how to do it some other way.
Dr. Beverly says we don't get to choose our seasons. We don't know what's on the other side of the door. When the bell rings, always understand that if we are being knocked down, it's because we have to get up stronger for something else or somebody else. Amen and amen again. I love it. It's 9:35. I wanted to celebrate you today. I wanted to celebrate you and what you have in your hand. And I want to help inspire you to build around it. Build around what you have. Mm-hmm. Build your, like Sister Felicia just said, build your life around it. Build your business around it. Build your world around what you have. Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's right. You read Beverly's quote?
I just did out loud. Okay. Yeah. Amen, Felicia. Again, Rochelle said, and I agree with that. Build it around what you have. It's now 9:36.
Oh, yeah. Let's go to this. Let's get some singing in. Ladies, tomorrow is Friday. Okay. First of all, first Friday of the month, we are going to hang out together. We've got a young entrepreneur that will be joining us in the Empowerment Fellowship, the Women's Empowerment Network on Friday night. She is a young entrepreneur. She is doing great things in the area of lipsticks and cosmetics. Her mother owns the business and she is rocking it. Enough Cosmetics is the brand. She's going to bring some samples and you'll be able to see things and she's going to demonstrate some things, and we're just going to hear things from the mind of this beautiful young entrepreneur. But we also want to hear about you. We want to hear about what you've been doing all month, how your business is building and growing. It's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. I will put the link on the screen. I thought I already had it up there. Here we go. And you can register and join us. And we hope to see you there at 7 p.m. Eastern. We want to celebrate you. We want to encourage you. We want to uplift you. It is going to be amazing. And that is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We'll remind you again tomorrow. Hey, happy today, Bill. Thanks for joining.
At 11 a.m., I'm doing a video interview. And I was thinking, what am I going to wear to the video interview? And I just decided I'm going to keep this on with my sales coach shirt on. So let's go do our greeting songs. The show's been going. This show's called Let's Talk About It. Her name is
Lisa Santiago McNeill.
And my name is Brian K. McNeill. And together we make up what we call the Empowerment Duo. Is what we do. Yeah. All right. Now, the show has a focus. It's personal conversations,
business information,
and spiritual inspiration.
With a little bit of shenanigans thrown in.
Our ministry is economic independence
through entrepreneurship.
And that we talk about those things. That's it. Everything we do is around those things and in those arenas. Mm-hmm. But some of you guys have been rocking with us since 2016. That's when we started this show. Yep. Some of you guys are consistent contributors. UPS is coming to our house.
They need to just have a stop here. Some of you guys have been hanging with us, and because you've been hanging out with us, we want to include you as part of the show by singing your song.
And some people, like Miss Phyllis, she has earned a logo. Her logo goes a little something like this. Miss Phyllis is here, so clear the way. Miss Phyllis is here. now we can all have a great day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good morning, Miss Phyllis. Good morning again to KT. We need the right song, KT. I want the right background, the right music. I want the right analogy with it.
I thought you had one for her.
I do.
Okay. Dr. Deborah's here.
Dr. Deborah, healing and deliverance coach.
We're waiting for that good report, Dr. Deborah.
Yes, I certainly hope you are feeling better.
And your husband.
And your husband. We're certainly looking forward to a full, clean bill of health from you. Also want to shout out to author Lynette, continuing to pray for her and her family as well. Praying for her and Pierre that they are healing and recovering. And also, she posted about a loss today.
Couples we know, but both of them are under the weather.
Yeah, so it's really hard when both people.
Yeah, who takes care of who? Goodness gracious,
it's really hard.
Dr. Beverly is here. Dr. Beverly is on the show. Good morning, Dr. Beverly.
Is that so loud?
It is not so loud.
Oh my God, it's so loud.
And she deserves it then.
She does.
Okay. Keep on scrolling, baby. Keep on scrolling.
She does.
Road great. We had a jam for you, and it left me. Okay. Miss Vivian is here.
Miss Vivian is here. Vivian is here. Vivian is here, and now the show can go on. Oh,
look at you.
You gave it to me.
So much.
I'm trying to think of Rochelle's. I remember it had something to do with the Renaissance women or something. I can't think of it right now.
Felicia Gardner here has a song.
Yes, Felicia.
Already,
Felicia, we love you.
That's right. How you doing, Felicia?
You're the one.
Brother William Brown is here.
Hey,
good
Bill.
morning to our friend Bill. Nobody thinks like him still. We love him so, and we always will. Our friend Bill. Good morning, Brother Bill. How you doing?
Melissa had a wonderful girl day with Stephanie, and it was so beautiful. I was so jealous. Everything looked so fun and so good.
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday, but it might have been another day ago.
Well, listen, you've been coming here late lately.
Late for work. Melissa's on.
Now it's time for us to sing our song. Melissa's on. Good morning, Miss Melissa Price.
Good morning, Melissa. Thank you so much for joining us.
The head usher
absolutely
has responsibilities.
We love it. Just finished cutting the grass, and yes, Stephanie Morris came yesterday.
She came by. That's awesome.
So, Melissa, you cut your grass yourself? Of course you do.
Yep. And I just got a text since we've been on the show that our guy is coming to cut our grass today.
Yeah, because it's high.
Yep.
We had a beautiful amount of rain saturation over the past couple of days. And I am excited because my grass is going to look green and healthy and beautiful. But
we're happy to have a friend of ours actually be our yard guy. So we're happy about that. He's
go ahead.
He's gonna cut some bushes back. Trim some hedges.
Yes.
Yep.
This morning I actually thought about you, Melissa. Yay! Felicia said, I love you guys' energy. It starts my day off with a smile and positive energy. Well, yeah, we're very glad. We're glad. This morning I had some energy. I got some energy this morning. This is the second day. Remember, my Monday started on yesterday because I didn't wait until next week so that I could start moving more, moving my body. And this morning I did 20 minutes of yoga, beginner's yoga. And I did 20 minutes on tick, tick, tick. 21 minutes on tick, tick, tension 3.
On the bike.
On my bike.
They sent me a picture of sent me and everyone else a picture of it. Oh.
I didn't send my sweat. I usually send my sweat. But I'm glad I didn't take a picture of my sweat and send it to everybody in that group chat. I didn't mean
yesterday I got some fun time on my punching bag. After
I thought he was taking down the house.
After the men's meeting, not the men's meeting, after the mindset and motivation.
Yeah.
After mindset and motivation, I went downstairs and banged on my punching bag. Yep.
Yay! Mark is here. We just finished talking about you. Brian was sharing with the audience your amazing contribution to last night's program. It was amazing. Mark
says, you can read it. Go ahead.
Mark says, "Good morning, good people. Brian, I salute you for the event last night. Iron sharpens iron, my brother. I was definitely sharpened last night. Not to leave you out, Lisa, but I had to uplift my brother this morning. Amen, amen, amen. Listen, I love it when my husband gets celebrated and saluted. And I am grateful for everything that you guys poured out on yesterday. We would love to have you on here, Brother Mark, so that we can share you with our audience. I can't believe that we haven't had you on before. So we would love to have you on. I'll have Brian connect with you and make that happen. Yes, Felicia, it was awesomeness. I did some stretching. I did some downward dogs. I did some thread the needles. I didn't do any salutations. I didn't know why the particular program that I didn't have any sun salutations. Yeah, I did. I had no salutations, but I did it and I didn't complain about it. And when I got up this morning, I didn't want to do it, but I went to do it anyway. And when I got downstairs, I still didn't want to do it. And then I started and I still didn't want to do it. And then I was halfway through it and I decided, what else can I do?
Real quickly, we still got a few more minutes. Zig Ziglar is one of my heroes. He's gone from the earth now, but he was a speaker for 35, 40 years. Mm-hmm. He was a professional motivational speaker is what he did. And he used to look back at his younger self and think about the mistakes he made, even as a speaker. He said, as a speaker, when I was a young speaker, I could put a strain in my voice and I could say to the audience, friends, you got to pay the price. And then he goes, oh, what a bunch of baloney that was. He says, because when he first started, he wrote the first book, See You at the Top, and he talked about how he has a 31-inch waist and he weighs this right here. He didn't have that waist. He had a 46-inch waist and he was heavier. But his wife, he bought some sneakers and his wife bought him a jogging suit and he started a walking program. First day he walked just to the next door neighbor's mailbox and then back. And then he got to 2 mailboxes, then 3 mailboxes. Then he was finally walking around the block. And then he kept walking and he finally graduated to running. And he got to the place where he was doing it every day, even in the rain. He would walk or run, even in the rain. And then his body got stronger. He was doing push-ups. His body got stronger. He lost all the weight. And he was running. He had a speaking engagement in Portland, Oregon, his story he tells. And it was a beautiful day. He was running on Portland because he had to speak there that afternoon. And he was running that morning, and he saw young people in the yard, and he saw the sun shining. He saw the squirrels chasing each other as he was running around the campus. And he said, you know what? I realized that I wasn't paying the price for a good body anymore. I was actually enjoying it. I was enjoying the price I paid to have good health. He says, you don't pay the price to have a good marriage. You enjoy the price to have a good marriage. You pay the price to have a poor one. You enjoy the price to have a successful business. You pay the price to have a poor one. To have success, you have to learn to enjoy the price that you must pay to get the thing that you want.
That enjoyment sometimes comes after not enjoying it very much, but continuing to do
it. And we talked about it yesterday on the show. The things that you decide to do at first, because your brain is trying to protect you. At first, anything you decide to do, your brain is going to say, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do it. That's why you have to come up with hacks and tricks to get yourself off the couch and go.
Oh, my goodness. This morning, I didn't know. I don't know. Again, Brian, thank you. He set the alarm for the hour earlier that we wanted to be set for. So I got up, I jumped up. I couldn't, of course.
I did. Let me tell you about that. I set the alarm for an hour earlier because she was on here lamenting how she needs to have it set. So I set it for an hour earlier and I let it run. I was like, baby, you hear that alarm? She goes, no. I said, baby, you hear the alarm? She goes, no. Yes, you do, Lisa. You hear this alarm? Then finally turned it off.
No, I don't hear the alarm.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't hear it. I was gonna stay there. I got up, I went downstairs and made it happen. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that he brought my yogurt up this morning. And so yeah, and fruit and water. Absolutely. And I'm grateful. I am grateful.
A lot of good things happen when you have an attitude of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Speaking of which, I just received another one of Miss Vivian's pieces, and it is called Gratitude.
It's called Gratitude.
Yes, it's coming. She might about be done. I'm getting ready to put them all together and see where we at.
A lot of good things happen then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm excited about today. I have wonderful clients today. I'm excited about that. And I have a gap this afternoon. We're picking up more furniture. Yes, we are. Our backyard is coming along nicely, actually. We can get some furniture today, some patio furniture. Look at her. She knows she wants it.
I do. I'm just not as anxious as you are.
I am.
There
and
are
also,
some things that I
got
need
that,
to do before
the
that.
chair we put in our bedroom today, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. It is beautiful. A red leather. It might not be real leather, but I don't care. Chaise. It's one of those chaises. Chaise. It's one of those red leather chaises that's kind of like almost like a potato chip because the legs come up higher. This is not the flat chaise, but the legs come up a little bit higher so you can kind of like really get back in there, read a book or relax or nap even. So I sat in it yesterday. I was like, oh, this is nice. Oh, chaise. Okay, but anyway, that's going to go in the bedroom. So I'm happy picking those things up.
We need to take that other chair out of there then.
Out of the chair.
The one at the foot of the bed. I think that's going to be too much. I think it is. We don't have a. It's not.
It's not. Keeping it. That's
I don't want them to both become things that hold things.
Right. The chaise is not. It's going to hold my butt. Okay.
It's not going to hold your butt. It's going to hold my butt.
Lisa, don't start on the show now. Don't start on the show, baby. Oh, my name is Brian McNeill. This has been Let's Talk About It. I appreciate you guys joining us Monday through Friday. Like, I can't see you looking at me.
It's for my butt.
Like, I can't sit in the chair. Black man can't sit in the chair in his own house?
Sit in the chair.
His own house? I can't sit in the chair?
Uh-huh. Hey, man, Mark, he says, there is a price to pay for success. There's an even bigger price to pay for accepting mediocrity. Mm-hmm. The path we take is not easy. However, the reward is great for those who choose to go. Here's the thing.
Wait a minute, before you leave that place. I heard this morning, Mark, about some of the New York Giants players talking about something their coach always tells to them. He says, overachievers do not accept mediocrity. And he wants his players to be overachievers. Overachievers simply don't accept mediocrity. Mark said the word mediocrity. I had to add that.
Mm-hmm. The thing is that price that you pay for mediocrity, a lot of times it sneaks up on you. It's like they give you a layaway plan for mediocrity, so it doesn't hurt all at once. But when you get to the end, when it's time to make that balloon payment, when it's at the end, that mediocrity has cost you everything.
Famous story about the founder of Rolls-Royce cars. You know, they're handmade. They take a long time to make them. They always have. And he was walking through his factory one time, and he overheard of one mechanic say to another mechanic who was tightening a screw, he goes, that's good enough. And they said they had to physically pull him off that mechanic. They had to yank him off that and he lost his mind behind someone saying on his factory floor that that's good enough. Nothing is good enough. He wanted quality, and he was not willing to accept mediocrity, even if it meant physical confrontation. Okay, no way. A Rolls, nothing is good enough. It has to be the highest standard.
That's it, Brother Mark. He says, truth, mediocrity cannot exist where excellence reigns.
They don't even go together. They're not even the same. They can't. They don't fit together at all. You're either going to be excellence or you're going to be mediocre. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can't do
You
them both.
can't do them both. You cannot do them both. Continue to tune in here on the Empowerment Network.
And be willing to share this good word.
Absolutely. Following us at 10 a.m. is Coffee Time with Coach John. We're excited for that. And go back and watch the replay if you missed it last night. Cooking with Tiffany was amazing last night. She has some beautiful recipes, including a delicious low-calorie mocktail, which you can always turn into a cocktail. Just put a splash of your favorite liqueur. But Miss Tiffany is really pulling out all the stops to bring you guys great, delicious, healthy recipes, 7 p.m. on Thursdays. And we are excited to have her as part of the network. And we are just excited for all the things that are happening within the Empowerment Circle. Shout out to Sister Jeannie. Her podcast will be appearing on Keever's Place here on Facebook, on Keever's Place. Sister Jeannie will be Thursdays at 6 p.m. So hers is Thursdays at 6 p.m. She is one of our favorites in the circle. And I am telling you, if you want to receive some inspiration, you want to tune in to Sister Jeannie, the author of Take Back Your Pen, and you will enjoy that. Continuing today at noon is Heart to Heart Conversations with Stephanie. Heart to Heart Conversations with Stephanie is Thursday at 12 noon. You want to tune in and catch her and be inspired and lifted up. I'm telling you, we've got everything that your heart desires for personal conversation,
business information,
and spiritual inspiration.
Now, Mr. Jeannie,
it's right here in the circle.
How old is she?
74.
Now, the reason why I said that is because Lisa mentioned what she's doing. This woman is 74 years old, bundle of energy. And when you see her on the street, I promise you, she's going to be dressed well. Very well.
And smelling yummy.
Keeps herself looking good, smelling good, and 74 years old.
And in the past 2 years, she's written 2 books. She has a blog. She's done an ebook. And now she's embarking in her podcast.
She's going to be on Stephanie's show today.
Miss Melissa! Make sure that you tune in. We love, love, love you. Make sure that you tune in today at 12 noon on Heart to Heart Conversations with Miss Stephanie. Her special guest is Melissa. We love you guys. And don't forget to have sex.